So, quick update on our trip. We've gotten out of Canada, flew a nice circle around Niagara Falls over the restricted area. Got over to Niagara International, cleared customs over there, super simple. So coming over, crossing the border was easy. Filed EAPIS over in Flint, Michigan, and already had sticker for the aircraft. You have one of those. And then it's basically contacting CanPass, which is the Canadian Customs Authorities, contacting them a minimum of 2 hours prior to your flight crossing over the border, and then do a ICAO flight plan and get that filed and activated, and that's pretty much it. We landed over in Toronto City Center. Most of you all got to see the pictures of that on Facebook already. And once we got on the ground, we were advised to contact CanPass. No delay as far as calling them on the phone. And they gave us a Canadian Customs number, I guess, what they called it. It was something like, it was like a CanPass ID number, which was basically them stamping our passport electronically. Kind of bummed we didn't get a sticker in our, or stamp in our passport. We were at the hotel, actually. We had to file our EAPIS to come back to the United States. And with that, we had to give U.S. Customs a call a minimum of 1 hour prior to entering back into the U.S. And we gave them a 4 hour initial contact call. And when we called, they said, we appreciate it because we normally ask for 2 hours because their customs agents are posted at the land border where the bridge is. Had to do a battery change, so kind of picking up where we left off. When we called U.S. Customs, we gave them a 4 hour notice. They appreciated that because they wanted us to do a 2 hour notification because of where their customs officials have to come from the land crossing. And after that, it was pretty easy. We did the Niagara Falls thing. We went and dropped off the rental car at the airport. Silly Canadians filled my airplane, and they weren't supposed to. I wasn't anticipating getting fuel there. I was going to wait till I got back into the United States. But somebody else, I guess they had talked to them last night, and, you know, not even a similar call tail number. The ramp guy didn't even ask for the guy's tail number for fuel, and because I had talked to him that evening about coming in today, he presumed that it was me and ended up filling up my airplane in Canada on liters. So it wasn't too bad, actually. It was actually going to be a little cheaper than in the United States over at Kilo India Alpha Golf Airport, Niagara International. So it kind of worked out to our advantage to have the plane already refueled, but you know, kind of a folly on their part. But made sure it was the right fuel at least. It was 100 LL. It was blue, so at least we didn't have to drain the tanks because he was filling jet fuel or something in the airplane. But yeah, so we've left Niagara International. We are up at altitude right now at 10,500 feet. We do have some convective activity to deal with on this flight. We were looking at going over to India 69, which is Claremont County. For some of you guys that follow us that are pilots out there, you'll know India 69 Claremont County as Sporty's Pilot Shop. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get in there.
Shall we descend and maintain 2,300 airport 12 o'clock
weather system
about
moving through that
17
area,
miles.
so we'll probably have to stop at Washington Courthouse to fuel, and we may have to deviate just a little bit to
do you want to vector out towards Death Joe, or are you fine going right to the field for now still?
We may have to deviate over towards Nashville,
short deck would be good.
Just to be able to stay clear of some.
Okay, 1 Papa Charlie, turn, just go 5 degrees to the left for now.
And then,
5 left, 1 Papa Charlie.
And then get back on course for San Antonio tomorrow. So, anyway, enjoy the flight. We'll talk to y'all later. A lot of corn down there.
Where are the children?
Yeah, if Malachi comes running out of the corn, we're not landing here for fuel. That's not happening. Malachi is not getting my airplane.
No. Oh.
Look at that.
Amazing what a little power will do. Is that what you fixed?
Maybe just a little bit. I'm telling you, it's those Canadian runways over there. They're built in metric, and I'm used to landing on imperial.
Don't
America measured runways.
Don't blame the Canadians.
No, they're pretty nice. All right, let's find the fuel farm. Looks like it's right over there.
Yep. So you're saying Nashville is where we're going?
Nashville is the next stop. All right, we're going to start pulling back just a little bit. Airspeed's alive. Hold it right there. You're good. And then push it forward just a little bit. Keep pushing. There you go. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Good job. I'm going to get the gear. Turn a little bit to the right, just a tad. Doing good. Let's get our flaps. All right. We'll watch the airspeed climb. That'll do. Good job.
Got it now.
You got it. I got stuff to do. Excellent for your first takeoff. Good deal. Very neat little town of Washington Courthouse. It's neat to see these little towns across America, you know, as we're out here traveling.
Yep.
Looks like they have a drive-in theater down there or something.
That's cool.
Home Depot. And a Walmart. What do you know?
I think Walmart's everywhere, dear.
Yeah. Get a little bit of the sunset as we're flying to Nashville tonight. So right now we're flying over the rural part of Lexington, Kentucky. See a little bit of it in the lights in the distance. And a quick look at ForeFlight as to where we are. You can see there we're flying just on the other side of Lexington, Kentucky right now, on our way to Nashville.
Admiral 4953 Tango, flight heading of 230, and you have 20 right in sight.
Have that traffic in sight, fly heading 230.
Okay, you said you have the airport or the traffic?
Right here during the night portion of this flight is where things get a little bit interesting. Now, there were no FARs or safety of flight issues, you know, that go on here. Full disclosure, I was night current, but currency doesn't always mean that you're proficient. So right here in this part of the clip, you know, it is pitch black out and we're getting the lights off in the distance for Nashville. And what's interesting here is the approach controller is giving me guidance and direction. It was going to be a visual approach because I was flying VFR, and she asked me if I had the airport, and I said that I had the traffic. So there was a 737 that was coming in, and of course she advises, you know, caution, wake, turbulence. And with that, you know, I saw the little, the light, and you'll see it as it crosses the screen down in front of you. You'll see that. We'll probably back up maybe, is what you're going to see here coming up. And we'll talk a little bit more. Let's play through the video just a little bit more here and see what happens.
Okay, you said you have the airport or the traffic?
Have the traffic inside.
Okay, number 53 Tango, roger. You follow the 737. Caution when turbulence. Maintain VFR and enter the straight and white 20 right.
So now looking ahead into this next clip, I saw the 737 and I could see its lights as it was tracking across the ground, and all of a sudden it disappeared, and so I couldn't see it anymore. I don't know if it disappeared into the lights, because there is, you know, some lights that are kind of are blending in, and I was given the instruction to go ahead and follow the 737 in. Caution wake turbulence again, because it's a heavy and I'm in a small airplane. But now I lost where it went. So let's continue.
We'll follow that 737 in and straight in for 20 right. Caution wake turbulence 53 Tango.
Roger, and number 4953 Tango, heading Nashville Tower 118.6. You have a good evening.
Over to Tower 118. Nashville Tower, good evening. Skyline 4953 Tango. Following 737, visual 20 right.
4943 Tango, Nashville Tower. Continue for a 20 right, caution wake turbulence.
Continue for 20 right, caution wake turbulence 53 Tango.
Sir, 53 Tango, kind of square base to final. I'm going to have one departure prior to your arrival.
We'll try to square that final off. Base to final, that is 53 Tango.
Now, at this point in time in the flight, it appears that I'm tracking to the airport environment, but it's really dark outside, and honestly, after that 737 disappeared, I really don't see where the airport is. And, you know, if you're following along and looking closely at the direction of travel, I don't see the airport yet. Now, maybe you do. Maybe you're from Nashville, but and you kind of know the layout of how B&A Airport is set up, but I'm not from there, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But it looks like I'm tracking towards the runway, and then the tower controller asked me to square off the base to final, and you can start hearing it in my voice that, you know, square off the final. Well, you don't square off the final. And then I correct myself, you know, square off the base to final. So I'm starting to get that, you know, I'm in the terminal area. I wasn't lost or disoriented, so to speak, but it was definitely a little nerve-wracking being in a Class C terminal area and not being familiar with that area, and just seeing vast amounts of lights and vast amounts of darkness. And now I'm being turned away to square off a base to final, and I really haven't identified, you know, the airport yet. So let's continue.
53 Tango, yeah, square that off, especially for your decent. Looks like you're still at 4,000.
Yeah, we're still just a little high.
You're still at 4,000 feet.
Country 647, Nash Tower, running 20 right, line up wait.
Right there, we should have been switched on that, you know, we're too high. We need to start loading, you know, possibly for a go-around. We're in Class C airspace. You know, maybe we need to get cycled back around. But what was really nice here about these controllers, unfortunately, you know, flying at nighttime is a very serene thing, but it also has its own animals with it as well. You need to be familiar with where you're going. You need to be familiar with all of the information of where your destination is, especially at nighttime if you've never flown into that airport before. And because it can get very confusing, you know, very, very quickly. And here we are at 4,000 feet in the terminal area where we should have been down to probably about 2,000 feet. So we get turned, we get going here, we get turned back to the right to square off a base leg to final, but yet we still don't have the airport yet. So let's continue and see what happens. You'll hear that loud beeping noise, which is me disconnecting the autopilot to start hand flying the airplane. And so we start doing, it looks like we're doing a few S turns here, or trying to get into doing some S turns here, and we get cleared to come in and land. And so we start losing altitude, but, you know, continuing on, let's get back to it here real quick.
Gear coming down.
We get through our gums check, gears down, gas on the fullest tank, all that fun stuff. And you hear the controllers questioning me, do I have 20 center?
53 Tango, do you have 20 center in
and
sight?
I reply back 20 right. Well, if you're
20 right.
looking at the clip right now at this point, there's some lights in the middle, and then there's these big to the left and to the right. There's vast amounts of empty black space. And when I turned left to turn inbound, I expected to start to see like the runway environment. Well, if you're looking at the camera here, if you're seeing what I'm seeing here, I don't see a runway yet. But I'm looking for 20 right. So, we still don't really have the runway. And again, this goes back to pre-flight planning. When we were up in Niagara Falls International, after we had cleared customs, I figured I did all my due diligence for weather, fuel, weather en route, alternate points to land, if we have any issues, going through my due diligence. But the one thing that I did not account for was what this would look like at nighttime, coming into Nashville International at night. So I didn't account for that. I figure, it's a Class C airport, going to be lots of lights, easy to identify. And sure enough, I can't identify anything yet. And that's kind of a predicament, as pilot in command, we are required to be familiar with all of the information, for the given flight, So fortunately, we were flying VFR. It was clear to 1,000,000. We did have some weather off to the northwest, which is why we deviated all the way down to Nashville so we could stay VFR and not have to try to penetrate a line of thunderstorms or rain clouds and showers and stuff like that. We didn't want to mess with that, But the one thing that I needed to do a much better job of was being familiar with, this environment at nighttime, and not to assume that I would be able to readily identify, this airport, even though it's a much bigger Class C airport. More traffic, I figured more lights. And as you can see, looking out the windscreen, just there's sporadic lights, there's here, there, and just vast amounts of darkness. So let's continue, and we'll keep flying and see what happens here.
Sir, 53 Tango, do you have disregard runway 20 right, clear to land?
And what do you know, as we start to, we've descended a little bit more, we've gotten back onto a final approach course for 20 right, and right here is the first time I literally, and you can literally see the runway lights. Those are some really dim runway lights, in my opinion. For coming into a Class C airport, and off in the distance to where 20 right is, if you look just a little bit to the left and forward, you can start to see kind of like a little straight line of runway lights, and that would be 20 center. So I think that's what he was trying to line me up for if I was still going to be a little too high. But as you can see, we're going to be able to make 20 right here, but that is right when the lights, become identifiable to me, is at this point in the flight. And now that I see those, when you draw a straight line right across to the left, that's the terminal. I mean, that just blows my mind at how crazy dark it is, and not being able to identify the runways, the apron, and stuff like that. So let's continue at this point and check out
2202, are you at the end ready to go?
Yes, sir. We're in the turn right now.
2202, Roger. Just let me know when you are turning around. Kind of hard to see way down there.
2202, Wilco.
Delta 2699, visual 20 right.
Delta 2699, Nash Tower at 20 right, cleared to land, traffic in position, runway 13.
Clear to land, 20 right, Delta 2699.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Never
Tower 53 Tango, make a left turn at Kilo, ground point 901 off.
Left turn at Kilo, 53 Tango.
We're in position, American 2202.
Just a moment.
So, again, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I think I was probably just really happy to be on the ground safely, and that,
American 2202,
no FARs were violated. The controllers were very patient with me. We do have a jet coming in right behind us. If you heard, there is one that just got cleared to land on 20 right.
That's a right-hand turn.
We landed a little bit left of center line. Like I said, we'll take it. But the stroke of genius here is because I was so high and landed long, we're getting off on Kilo, and this taxiway here is the taxiway that we needed to go straight direct to the signature FBO. So we landed long, and at the end here, we're on the ground. We turn off, making a left turn on Kilo, and it's straight down Kilo right to the FBO. So, I guess you could say there was a little bit of salvage there in that landing. So all in all, good flight. Some lessons learned here though. Key points: being more prepared for coming into a Class C, airport at nighttime and being unfamiliar with it. As pilot in command, I need to do a better job of knowing that environment and being prepared for possibly what it would look like at nighttime. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this flight. Thanks for following along and hanging out with us. A lot of lessons learned, when it comes to flying into an airport at nighttime, especially when it's an airport that you're unfamiliar with. So if you've ever experienced anything like this in your flying career, whether you're a private pilot, commercial pilot, airline transport pilot, if you've had anything similar to this happen to you, leave the comments down below. I'd like to hear, of what your experiences have been.
And here we are at signature
flying into
FBO.
unfamiliar places at nighttime, But definitely the biggest takeaway for me is, being more familiar with all the information when it comes to flying into an unfamiliar spot at night. Thankfully, no FARs were violated, no safety of flight issues happened, and the controllers there in Nashville were super friendly and super forgiving, and very, very patient, with what I was dealing with. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll catch you on the next video. See ya. Peace.